Welcome back, capital F football fans, to the O&O Sports YouTube channel. Today, we're taking a break from my season previews to bring you my biggest hot seat candidates of the 2025 college football season. Who are they? How likely are they to be let go this year? And what has to happen in order for that to go down? Let's find out. But first, as always, be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to comment who you think should be a hot seat candidate in 2025. It helps us out a lot. And with that, let's find out how this is all going to work. We're going to be going over each of our 5 coaches in this video, what they could do right and wrong this year, what they've done right and wrong in the past, and how likely it is that they'll be fired using our patented handy dandy thermometer 5000. On this device, we have the safe category, meaning it's unlikely the coach will be fired this year. The warm category, meaning they're on the fence but probably don't have much to worry about, at least for this year. The hot category, which will be coaches that could be fired if they start off slow or if certain things don't go their way. And finally, the danger category, of course, meaning this is very likely to happen. And now with that out of the way, let's start off with USC head coach Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley joined the Trojans in 2022 after going 55-10 in 5 seasons with the Oklahoma Sooners. A hire most everybody, myself included, thought would be a home run for the Trojans. And while he hasn't been bad by any means, there are a couple of lingering issues that have soured his tenure thus far, mainly his defenses. In his first 2 seasons at USC, his defenses raked in an average of 106th best defense in the country in terms of yards per play. Obviously not great numbers, but last season, Riley poaches UCLA D coordinator D'Anton Lynn as the Trojans' next defensive coordinator. And while they did make a moderate improvement, the defense overall was still a big liability at times. Now, I do think this number will improve again this season, but in that time frame, USC also made the jump to the Big Ten. No more is the Pac-12, and they ended up seeing their worst season yet in Riley's tenure, in terms of record at least, going 7-6 last year. So the big question is, will the Trojans be able to field a defense that is up to Big Ten standards? If not, we could be seeing Lincoln Riley out the door, but I'm personally not of the opinion that that will happen, and I'm giving Lincoln Riley a safe reading on the thermometer. I think USC takes a big step forward this year in terms of defense, and statistically, USC has hovered around the top 10 to top 15 in offense in the country. So if they can boost those defensive numbers up to anywhere between top 40 to top 30 in the country, there's no doubt in my mind that this team is capable of winning 10 or more games this year. Now, that isn't a guarantee, but on top of that, Riley has been on an absolute tear on the recruiting trail recently, so he's going to be getting the benefit of the doubt a lot there as well. And next on our list, we have Auburn head coach Hugh Freeze. Now, Freeze is already at a disadvantage in my eyes just because he's not a super likable character off the field. But for this video, we'll keep it to on the field success. Freeze was hired at Auburn in 2023, where in 2 seasons he has amassed a record of just 11-14 with a 5-7 finish in 2024, which is kind of crazy as the 2024 Auburn Tigers were a much better team overall than the 2023 Auburn Tigers, but ended up with a worse record. But their biggest problem the past 2 seasons has been the turnover battle. They ranked in the high 70s in terms of turnover margin in 2023, and last season they finished 95th with a negative 0.4 turnover margin per game. And while the recruiting rankings have gotten better over the past 3 seasons nationally, they've been around 9th in the SEC year to year in Freeze's tenure thus far. And that leaves you to wonder if they will end up finishing towards the bottom of the SEC once again. I'm giving Hugh Freeze a rating in the hot zone for the 2025 season. I think Auburn could be relatively good statistically again, but they were last season and that didn't help them out all that much. So if we see the same inconsistencies once again this year, if they can't get the turnover monkey off their backs, I think it's pretty likely we see Hugh Freeze out of a job next year. And next, staying in the SEC, we've got to look at Oklahoma's Brent Venables. Venables to Oklahoma was another hire I liked a lot in 2022, and it looked like it paid off immediately with Oklahoma going 10-3 in his second season as their coach. But in 2024, Oklahoma just looked flat out bad at times, especially on offense. The Sooners took a 2.5 point slide from 2023 to 2024 in terms of yards per play. Their offense averaged 6.7 yards per play in 2023, which was 9th in the country, compared to 2024 where they just averaged 4.2. That is the difference from the 6th to the 131st best offense in the country, 4th worst overall and 2nd worst in the Power 4, only ahead of Florida State. Now that mostly was in part due to going from Dillon Gabriel at quarterback to Jackson Arnold. And while I think it's mainly Oklahoma and Brent Venables' responsibility to take for messing up Arnold's game, it was always going to be a challenge to go from a top 5 quarterback in the country to a redshirt freshman first-year starter in a guy like Arnold. So 2024 could have been a bit flukish overall, and that's why Venables is just in the warm category for now. I feel like he's addressed a lot of Oklahoma's biggest issues, mainly the offense, with the hiring of Ben Arbuckle, the bringing in of both John Mateer and Jay Knott out of the transfer portal. But there still is a less than 0 chance that Venables gets taken off the books as Oklahoma's head coach if they underperform again this year. And next, let's look at Arkansas head coach Sam Pittman. Now this one brings me no joy whatsoever to cover because everything I've heard about Sam Pittman, he's a wonderful guy to be around. Seems like a true leader and someone people really look up to, but I have to keep it strictly on the field. And so far in his first 5 seasons at Arkansas, Pittman is just 30-31 overall. And while the Razorbacks have seen very good heights under Pittman, specifically that 2021 season where they went 9-4 with a bowl victory, there is still a lot to worry about, especially taking a look at Arkansas's schedule this year. They face Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, and Missouri at home, and on the road, take a deep breath here, they face Ole Miss, Memphis, Tennessee, LSU, and Texas. And based off that alone, I'm putting Pittman in the hot category. That schedule is absolutely brutal, but Arkansas faced a pretty tough schedule as well last year and came away with 7 wins on the year. And their offense, when it's healthy and when they decide to protect the ball, was a top 25 unit statistically. And in my eyes, they have one of the nation's most underrated quarterbacks in Taylon Green. He had over 3,700 total yards and 23 total touchdowns last season. And if he can become a more efficient and less turnover-prone passer all around, I think he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC next year. And last for this video, we jump to the Big Ten to take a look at Luke Fickell of Wisconsin. Fickell was another one of those 2022 hires that looked amazing on paper, but it's also one that just has not worked out very well so far. In his 2 full seasons at Wisconsin, the Badgers are 12-13 with a 5-7 finish in 2024. And what really makes me nervous for Fickell is that so far it's looked like he's made all the wrong moves for Wisconsin. He tried to revamp Wisconsin's offense with Tanner Mordecai, didn't work. Tried it again with Tyler Van Dyke. He ended up getting hurt, but it still didn't work. And then when he tried to go back and bring in a run-heavy approach later last season, it just did not work at all. It was too little, too late. The offense was too mismanaged, and now Fickell is staring down the barrel of what could be the hardest schedule of any Big Ten team this year. They face Alabama on the road in week 3 for some odd reason. They're at Michigan, at Oregon, at Indiana, and at Minnesota, as well as home games versus Ohio State, Iowa, Maryland, Washington, and Illinois. Very scary to say the least, and that's why I'm giving Luke Fickell our first danger zone rating of this series. He's not going to get the benefit of the doubt in terms of prior success at Wisconsin because he doesn't really have any. Wisconsin's lacked a clear identity on both sides under Fickell, which is just insane for a team like Wisconsin, who in the past 10 to 20 years has been able to go toe-to-toe with the likes of Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, all these tough Big Ten teams with some of the best line play and best running offenses in the sport. Now, Fickell has seemingly gone full Scott Frost trying to reinvent the wheel at Wisconsin, and it just has not worked at all. Big year upcoming for Fickell and Wisconsin this year, and a big year for all of these coaches. Don't want to single Fickell out just by himself. And be sure to leave some of the coaches you'd like to see us go over in the next episode down below in the comment section. And with that, thank you for watching. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out a ton, and we will see you in the next one.